know, our apology tour is continuing. On Saturday, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton began her trip in India by blaming the U.S. for global warming.
We acknowledge now with President Obama that we have made mistakes in the United States, and we, along with other developed countries, have contributed most significantly to the problem that we face with climate change. We are hoping that a great country like India will not make the same mistakes.
Yeah, except I'm thinking India is likely to make the same mistakes, you know, like changing the world. Amazing. They're not rejecting the they're rejecting the administration's call to lower emissions because they like to bring people out of poverty. India says it has, quote, among the lowest emissions per capita, which is true today, since half of the country doesn't even have electricity. Former Ambassador John Bolton is here, author of Surrender is Not an Option, Defending America at the United Nations. My gosh, John, the apology tour just continues. I can't take it anymore. Flying from all corners of the globe, and I know it's not a flat earth and the globe doesn't have corners. That was for Al Gore, by the way. I'm tired of the apologies. Can we stop apologizing? What country hasn't made mistakes in the past?
Yeah, well, this really reminds me of Jean Kirkpatrick's famous quote when she said, the San Francisco Democrats, they always blame America first. And the enthusiasm with which Secretary of State Clinton announced that we were the source of the problem really demonstrates what the agenda is.
Well, we are the, what is the agenda? I think it's the redistribution of wealth.
Well, I think the Indians threw back a very interesting argument on this per capita carbon emission thing. If you really want to equalize, let's have everybody, all inhabitants of the globe, have the same footprint, the same per capita carbon emission, and we'll all be living in grass huts at that point.
You know, let me tell you something. Who is it? Our new green jobs czar wants to develop the world. That doesn't sound good, to develop the world.
Well, this is why I think fundamentally the Obama agenda, whether it's the cap and trade legislation domestically or this new post-Kyoto negotiation he wants to get into, isn't going to go anywhere. I think this is where his coalition falls apart. Labor union members in this country care about jobs, their jobs, and they're not about to give them up for a theory about global warming.
The labor unions? We're counting on the labor unions?
Well, if our capitalist leaders would do a little bit more to defend their position.
Because they're afraid, John, they're afraid.
But I think this is the time to stand up. I think the president's program is in real trouble, and I think once he starts losing, as it looks like he will on health care, he'll begin to lose on other issues.
This guy, I'm telling you, this guy is dangerous. He's never lost before. He won't understand it. He won't understand. Look how... He like, who are you to question me? I mean, this guy is practically an imperial president now. When he starts to lose and people question him and push him back against the wall, he's not going to know how to react.
But that makes me even more optimistic because I trust in the inherent good judgment of the American people. And if he does react that way, and you could well be right, I think they'll react even more strongly against him.
Okay, so tell me about this one. The Commerce Secretary, pull this up on the full screen here, the Commerce Secretary said, it's important that those who consume the products being made all around the world to the benefit of America and its own consumption activity that's causing the emissions of greenhouse gases, then quite frankly, we need to pay for that. We should pay. China's, what he's saying is, we know, China, you're not going to do the greenhouse gas thing, but we'll pay your tax for you. So we have to, I think, borrow money from the Chinese to buy their products and then borrow more to pay the carbon tax.
Yeah. Let's stop here and underline this point. The position our Secretary of Commerce is advocating is the position of the Chinese government. You know, it's bad enough when the State Department represents other governments' positions better than they do. Our Secretary of Commerce is advocating the Chinese position. I think Americans ought to understand just how far off the beam the Obama administration is. Who's going to negotiate for us if our Commerce Secretary is negotiating for the Chinese?
You tell me, and I'm a guy who on Election Day said, look, he is my president now. I don't agree with him. I don't agree with his policies, but he's my president, et cetera, et cetera. Rush said on the radio that he didn't want his policies to succeed. He didn't want to be able to have his agenda succeed. He didn't want these things because he felt that they were bad for the country. Well, I do too, but I'm going to go a step further than Rush Limbaugh. I think Barack Obama doesn't want America to succeed.
Yeah. I think what we should want is not for any individual to succeed or fail. We should want our country to succeed. And here's where Obama, I think, is different from other presidents. I don't think he's anti-American. I think he's post-American.
Yes.
He's beyond all that.
He wants to remake it.
He's above it all, as the Newsweek editor said. He's sort of up there like God, you know?
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Ambassador. Okay. Back in just